Dementia units at meal times can be crowded and congested places, very difficult to eat in if you're not used to eating in crowds and being amidst crowds, which many people, elderly people, later on in life are used to a solo existence, not having to eat amidst 30 people and all the rushing and going on that happens in a dementia unit at meal times. So in order to be able to help your parent in this situation, if they're feeling like claustrophobic, the first thing really is to understand the layout and the system. Now, central to the dining room is the servery. Everything happens from the servery. The servery area is noisy, it's busy, it's clattery. All the meals are served from there, and the residents that need help with eating sit at the dining tables closest to the servery. Difficult for them because if they've got the back to the servery and there's clatter and trays bang to the floor or accidents happen, they'll have all this noise going on behind them, which is really stress inducing. But they need to be near the servery because that's where the staff are most available to be able to help them with eating. Now, spanning out from there are then the dining tables where people just need a little bit of encouragement with eating and drinking as staff are walking by. Further from there, on the outskirts, are the dining tables for the independent eaters. Now, there's a much more liberty in that area because if you're an independent eater, then you have the chance of being able to go to other dining tables which are not as close to the central fulcrum and is less noisy, less disturbing, less clattery, less crowded. And you can ask for your parent to be moved there if there's a problem. Now, the best thing really as a relative is to come in at the meal time, maybe lunch and dinner, say a couple of times a week, just to really check the lay of the land and see how it is that your parent, say your mother, is coping. So if you come, say, for Sunday lunch, that's a common time for relatives to come for a meal, often a roast meal with tons of roast veggies, which everyone likes roast vegetables. So, well, here in New Zealand, certainly they do. So if you come at Sunday, you're with your mother at the meal and you've met her 3 friends at the dining table, but you find and you can observe that one of the residents is a bit aggro. She's easily roused, she's intolerant, and she's snappy. Now, if she's like that when you're present, chances are when you're not there, she'll be much worse. So just keep an eye on that. And if you find you've come to the meal 2 or 3 times and on each occasion she's like that and your mother's becoming like withdrawn and anxious in her company, ask her, look, Mum, with this, you know, the resident at your table, would you prefer to be at another table to be able to be away from her so you can have a bit of peace? And she may say, look, well, it's not good, but I like the other 2 ladies, so I'd like to stay there. Or she may say, yes, and it's too much. I can't take it. I want to go to another table. So if so, say to the charge nurse about the situation. They may well have witnessed it. Well, they will have actually witnessed it anyway, but it just takes a little bit of, you know, nudging from the relative's perspective to make a verbal, it's not a complaint, but really a suggestion / complaint, either verbally or in writing. Writing always gets to the target pretty quickly, but more informally is in conversation. So start informally. If nothing happens, then go to the writing and to get your mother in another table. And, you know, you can sort of look around and see who it is she's likely to get on with and mention to the charge nurse if she's a former nurse herself, your mother. Say, look, Mum's a former nurse, if it's at all possible to get her to sit with another lady who's been either a nurse or a carer or something along those lines, even a school teacher. Nurses and school teachers tend to get on quite well as well. So try and just get that mix where there's a similar-ish background and your mother's more likely to be able to connect and converse, not necessarily directly about days of old, but nurses tend to have a similar personality and interests to other nurses, and similar to teachers. You know, teachers are always interested in other people learning, and nurses are always interested in helping other people when they're unwell. All of which happens, you know, everything's under the umbrella in a dementia unit needing to be catered to. So it's always handy to have nurses, former nurses and former teachers about. So these are the meal times at dementia units. Busy, crowded, fun if you like a big crowd, but if you don't, can be stressful. So to be able to help your parent, assist them, come to the meals and support them at meals. That's the big thing. Socialising, you know, being the eyes for your parent, looking out for them to see what it is that's giving them stress, if they're under stress and duress, how it is you're likely to be able to solve that. And if she moves to another table, further away from the maddening crowd at the centre, and she's more relaxed and happy, then you know that you've hit the right solution. And it's trial and error. A lot of the time it's observation, asking your mother, you know, looking around and seeing the lie of the land and where the stress points are, the triggers are, and then seeing where you can work out a solution and work with the team. That's why it's important to know the charge nurse, the clinical manager, the primary carer, the doctor. It's really important to have a good relationship with all key members of the team, because they make the decisions, and if you're part of that team, your opinion will be counted. Communication, of course, helps all the way. Positive communication, positive input, helping each other out, and in that way your parent will have a better stay, a better quality of stay at a dementia unit. So I've written about these topics at length in The Resident's Voice, From a Dementia Unit, Everything You Need to Know for When a Relative Goes into a Dementia Unit, and The Resident's Rise, When a Person's in the Unit. And both these books are on Amazon and my website, pietavalentine.com. Now I just want to say some appreciations here, long overdue. TikTok, thank you so much, especially all those original subscribers. I think Eve and Violet, wonderful girls, and they thank you to both of you and others of your age group and similar, you know, interests, I think. Thank you. Anyway, what I'm really trying to say is thank you very much for your support from the very beginning when I first started, which was only 5 months ago or 6 months ago, and I only had about 5 subscribers, and you came on board and have been faithful, loyal, you know, committed followers since then, and I so appreciate it. And for the long term, that you can be so committed to supporting this channel. It's made such a difference. I don't get to see quite the same what's happening on YouTube because it's all so invisible, but TikTok you can see everything, and I'm just so grateful. 44% of the followers on TikTok are Australians, about 20% New Zealanders, but all those Australians, Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne, it's just fantastic. I mean, I love Australia. I lived in Sydney for 5 years in my 20s and had a physio practice there, and I've been to Melbourne many times giving Think Strong, Be Strong retreats there, and you know, this precursor to this work really. So I love Australia, and so when I can see all the followers coming from Australia and all your wonderful lifestyle over there, sun, sand and beach, it's fantastic. So thank you for all the reminders of the past and all the happy times that we've all had. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please pass on the links, and those of you that are viewing but not subscribing, please do subscribe, because it really does make such a huge difference to be able to get this channel up and running. Thank you so much.